nonsense. So what this is, you guys, this is the Multo by Cooking Pal. So this is, it does blending, it does food processing, it cooks, it does a lot of different things. That's who's sponsoring my live today. But it's supposed to be on Amazon. So they're getting a bonus non-Amazon one. Oh, and Kelly, we're going to talk about what horchata is. We're going to talk about all the details, I promise you. So one thing I want you to know is that this is the motor, this is the cooking thing, this is, and I'll show you from over here, actually a tablet that you use to cook in manual mode like we're going to, or get recipes. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But for now, we are going to make our horchata. So we're not making, and actually I'll show you here, they have a lot of recipes and they have some horchata recipes. So if I went to guided recipes, I can, there's the question. And then toasted horchata is there. And I'm doing it my own way anyhow. Wait, that is not, those are not results for horchata. I just had this up a second ago. Let's try again. Let's just, okay. And that brings up a keyboard. Horchata. It's hard typing sideways. Toasted horchata. There we go. I don't know why it didn't bring this up. So it gives you a recipe. You can look at the steps. You can show the details. We're going to do this a little bit differently because you toast it and then you soak it for hours, which we've already done. And we're making my horchata. But so what we're going to do is we're going to do it on manual mode, where I will pick things like chop, you know, and how long. Do I want to stir? Means stir goes the opposite way and doesn't cut it. But anyhow, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about what's horchata, right? And Esther says, I want to learn how to switch from live Facebook to YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Type in Kathy Hester. I think should be the only game in town. You should get to my account and you should see the live. You can totally do it that way. And usually I go live all the places so that it's easy wherever you are. Alrighty, let's look overhead. This is what I have soaked. So horchata is a Mexican delicious, delicious drink made from rice, almonds, cinnamon, and a sweetener of your choice. So today we're either going to use date sweetener or agave because I'm not cooking it. I'm doing everything cold. And so I have outrageous oatmeals. I have an oat chata in there too. So it's very similar, only it has some steel-cut oats too. So what you do first, because if we were making almond milk, we would soak the almonds overnight, right? So that's what we did. Only we also soaked, it doesn't look so pretty after it soaks, and we're going to drain this water. But if you look in here, there's brown rice, just long grain brown rice. You could use short grain brown rice. You probably could use black forbidden rice. Okay. And these are some cinnamon sticks. These are hard, well, they're a little softer now. So we could actually blend one up if we want to. Soaking it actually gets a lot of cinnamon in here. And actually, I'm not going to strain this water. I'm going to use this water because I want all this cinnamon goodness. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. If I make it in the Instant Pot, because there's a recipe on plantbasedinstantpot.com, I use the water that I soak it in, or that I cook it in. And that's a way to speed this up. If you wanted to make it right now, and you're like, well, that's all fine and good for you, because you have it soaked, basically, I think I cook it probably about 10 or 15 minutes. Basically, we want to make the almonds soft, we want to make the rice soft so that we can puree it. That's all. Basically, it's fancy rice milk with a little bit of almond. And you can see down in here, That's the blade that we were looking at on the tablet. So if it goes one way, it cuts. If it goes another way, it just stirs and doesn't cut. So we want to chop this up. And I'm going to scrape all the rice out of there. And basically, we are just kind of making rice milk. So yay. But it's with cinnamon. Now, a more traditional sweetener would be like a, it starts with a P. Let's play a game. And it's the sugar that's kind of in that triangle cone. And it's a brown sugar. So if you could put some of that in, you could put brown sugar in. Since I'm not going to heat this, that's why I chose to do a liquid sweetener. And if you didn't want to heat it and you wanted to use a liquid sweetener and still use whatever it is you want to use, like brown sugar or something like that, heat up some water, mix it with brown sugar, probably about 1 to 1. 1 cup of brown sugar to 1 cup of water, and make a simple syrup, and then you could use it the same way. If I was thinking of using agave in this because I think that kind of fits the whole Mexican theme. However, I know some of you are not okay with agave nectar, though this is organic agave nectar and it's raw. So it's not been heated or anything like that, and it's also in the Clean Label Project. So it was tested for over 130 harmful environmental and industrial contaminants and toxins. So anyhow, it's vegan, gluten-free, all these things, non-GMO. So that's why I like, yes, Jackie, you're so good. And how do I, I'm just gonna put it up here, and I'm not gonna try and pronounce it because it's Friday at 7. And that is my gift to myself. That is the sugar, and I buy it at the Hispanic market. You can also buy palm sugar that looks very similar kinds of blocks at the Indian market. Either of those can be used in place of brown sugar or vice versa. They both kind of, all 3 of them have a little bit more of the molasses yummy taste to them. So that would be a traditional way to go. Okay, thanks, Jackie. Anyone else who would like to be my lovely assistant is welcome to. All right, so what you're not gonna see after I put this lid on is what's happening in here. Though, what's kind of cool, there's this little, let's see, this little guy right here. And so the lid goes in and seals. There we go. I guess you could see a little bit. Let's see what happens. We'll switch over. Coconut sugar, JM, absolutely. Coconut sugar would work. Again, I would put some hot water with it to kind of melt it down a little bit. And Jessica, welcome. It's good to have you. Now let's look at our little pad guy. And this, the thing we're using is the Multo Cooking Pro. Or Cooking Pal. Okay, so temperature is nothing. Time, we probably need a minute. Speed, and we can change it, kind of gives us some things here. Mix and stir, chopped onions, grind or mill wheat. So let's do it about a 9. We don't want to chop it. Oh yeah, we do want to chop it. I don't know why I thought I was going to have a puree option. Chop. And then you click here and it's going to make the machine start, and I'll show you overhead again. Oh, the lid is not considered sealed. Oh, that's because I messed up. There we go. Ha! And this is what's kind of cool. It is a smart appliance, and it's not going to let you hurt yourself. This is the appliance for Cheryl. You can kind of see a little bit. I think I'm doing it too fast because it's kind of spitting some of my stuff out. So I'm going to put some of that stuff back in. And you guys know I only do things experimentally live because that's more fun. So I'm getting some of this back in. I think it's cool. I know Cheryl, and I'm kind of glad that Cheryl likes it because you know what? Cheryl can cook dinner for me, and that would be awesome. So I'm getting some of the rice and stuff that I've obviously, I think what I just did was, because I'm using manual and not going by their instructions, I could actually just go and skip to the other settings, and perhaps that is what I should do. You know why? Because it's Friday, and that's the way things happen on Fridays. Okay, cleaning up my mess, and you only see it for a little bit. So how was your Friday, you guys? Was it as eventful as mine has been so far? First, I can't get into one thing, and now I'm just like, woohoo! Let's have a crazy mess. I make messes, so you don't have to. That's one I think I'm going to have an outtake for sure. All right, let's try again. And here's the little doohickey to get the lid. Nope, this is the little doohickey. Get the lid. And Gina says, got to go to a new indie bookstore. Woo, that's fun. I love bookstores. I've made a mess. You're not noticing my mess though, right? I'm being very discreet. Not. I'm not a discreet person. We all know that. All right. So let's go back and let's look at the horchata recipe. Let's say perhaps I don't know what I'm doing with the horchata, and that's okay. I don't want, you might also like. Okay, evidently it doesn't like doing it again unless I type it in. Horchata. Sounds like Horcrux. No, it doesn't really. There we go. All right, so let's start. Take out your ingredients. Done that. How are they doing it? We're not cooking it. We're not doing any of that. We've done the let it sit. So wait. Blend mixture. Okay. What do they do? Yes. I would like to start a new cooking session. Okay. That is a lower speed. As we can see, nothing is spilling out. Yay! I love that you're dehydrating foods. And it tells us we've got some more time, so it goes slower for longer. And we'll see what it looks like. Got 23 more seconds of blending. doing 2 minutes on level 8. Level 8, 2 minutes. So it did it on level 8 for 2 minutes. So that's how I am learning about my Multo by Cooking Pal. And Kelly, that's what the machine is called again. Multo by Cooking Pal. And I'll come back and I'll put at least on Facebook where you can buy it and all those things and all that what's it. I had all that on Amazon, but Amazon's thing isn't working. It is very fancy. So let's open it up and see what it looks like. Gina says, I'm so happy you're real and not rehearsed. This is real cooking in my world. Absolutely. And I kind of feel like when I'm learning how to do a new thing, I want to do it with you. So you will see the things that I see. Like I know in my Vitamix, I shouldn't just turn it up to 10, but I thought this lid is sealed. Well, there is still, if it's fast enough, there's a place for it to leak out. So now we know these things. And it's Multo by Cooking Pal. It is not super cheap, but it's more than just a blender, even though we're just doing blending things today. We're going to be making milks, and last week I made, what did I make last week? We also did, I did drinks. I did ginger lemon shots with a little bit of orange, and then I added pineapple in there. Amazing. We made pineapple zero alcohol tequila sunrises with ice and fresh pineapple, and that was really delicious too. So we made drinks then. Let me let you see kind of what's in here. And I may let this blend a little more because I'm pretty sure this was a user error where some of the stuff got sloshed out. But see, even without straining it right now, it looks pretty nice and fluffy. I know now I should probably not go over an 8 with this much liquid, is what I would say. I was thinking it was sealed tight like Fort Knox. And maybe it was. Maybe, I'm pretty sure it's me having it up that high. And you can only put the lid on one way. Let's see, there we go. So you see that little thing comes over here, and then it slides into that motor base. So I'm going to come back over here for just a minute or two. Hey, Valerie. It is awesome to see you here. There you go. And Lydia said I went grocery shopping, and after the live, I'm going to watch the last episodes. Excellent. And then we hate when we go to watch a video about a product and it's rehearsed. I don't know that I even see those anymore. I like this. Cheryl says, you know Kathy's going to push any new appliance through the paces. And that is very, very much true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this. You know what? I know what I'm doing now. I figured it out. And this is how I do things on my own. So we're going to go manual. Now we know with the speed, we'll keep it for a minute. The speed will go to 8. We learned from watching the recipes, which is what you're supposed to do. We're going to chop, and we're going to start it. I never know what to do. I never know what to do while you guys are just listening to the machine. I could Vanna White it. Right? And it's probably overkill the amount that I'm blending it, but since it's the first time that I'm making it in the Multo, I want to make sure it's pretty smooth. It's counting down for me. It's got 12 more seconds. And I do notice, that's just from before. And Gina was saying, that's what you guys want, and that's what I want to give to you. because there's nothing worse than looking into a new appliance, especially if it's more than like $10 or $15, and not really seeing what the pros and cons are, how to best take care of it, how to use it, you know? Okay, so let's look at this again. There's still going to be some pulp, just like there is in everything else. So we're going to strain that out. Some of this I'll probably leave. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and rinse the lid. We are going to use it, and I'm going to show you tonight how to use the cleaning cycle. But part of the reason this lid has extra stuff is that I was using it too high. Oh, and you know what? I see what the problem is. I don't know if it started before then or after, and I'm going to come back and show you something you should check that I did not check. You guys, how did I miss this? Can you see? Can you see that? That's like the little ring in your Instant Pot. So it is actually out, and that's why things leaked. So let me move this, and I'm going to wipe it up before you guys get to see it, because there's stuff under there too. I made a big mess. It will not be my first time. And now, because I was like, I really was not expecting anything to be able to come out from back there, and it shouldn't. And probably when I washed this before, something got kind of askew. Let's look from overhead, because I think you guys can see. Can you see that? Can you see how, you still can't see that very good, can you? Yeah, you can see that. See how that's there? This is where it should be, not here. So I'm going to pull it up and fix it. And that is exactly why. So this was not all in its proper position, and that's why some stuff was able to leak out. So now I know, just like my Instant Pot, I check it because if it's not sealed, it's never going to get up to pressure. And with the Multo, this is kind of a, we can go really, really fast. You can see more stuff there. Let me wipe that up. I'm just making a mess everywhere, but that's my nature. That's how I roll. Okay, so it's just right around here. We want to make sure it's seated in where it's supposed to be seated in. And, okay, actually, I'm going to keep that over there. What we're going to do, I'm going to rinse this bowl out because it has a little bit of the rice, a piece of almond, possibly. Who knows what else it might have in there. I'm going to get a glass too, so that we can have a glass of it. How about I put a little ice in there too? Normally I serve this cold from the fridge without ice, but I think ice would be nice. Okay, so I'm going to take a fine mesh strainer. Ooh, okay, here we go. And Kelly's saying she'll have to try it in a blender. Yeah, this works in a blender too, and you can look at my other recipe that is more blender specific at plantbasedinstantpot.com. And Janet loves to see how something works before buying. Absolutely. And you know what? The more troubleshooting I see online, the better my experience is going to be. You know, I have food savers, Jessica, but I don't really use them. I'm not saying I won't use them more, especially with more dehydrating that I'm doing. And Jessica, were you in class yesterday? I can't remember. It seems like it was a year ago. And I did a dehydrator class, and we may use one of the powders. Okay, so basically, we're just gonna, just as if this was any other milk, and there's lots of pulp in the bottom. And if it doesn't seem thick enough, we could also, actually, you know what I'm gonna do, is I may run that through again. But I'm not going to do that to you now. So I'm going to save, you can save the pulp from these things anyhow and make it into oatmeal, put it in your puppy snacks. it's just cinnamon, oats, and rice. So I would grind it down a little bit smaller and then mix it in. It tastes so good. But like probably what we could have done in here is maybe done it, they were talking about toasting it and then running it dry. And I did not do that because I'm a rebel. Who else watched that Pee Wee Herman movie? I'm a rebel, Dottie. Yes, he was. And yes, I think I'm the same kind of rebel that Pee Wee is, which means not a very dangerous one. Alrighty. All right, this is all clean and mostly clean. I did a number on this, guys. I've got like rice in nooks and crannies where rice should never be on this. Let's check it out. Okay. Don't forget the seal. No. All right. So part of my thing, and see how there's a little bit of milky stuff? I'm going to make sure that gets in there too. All right, so I prefer a fine mesh strainer when doing things like this, and it's necessary to move everything around. Well, you can't see this way. You can see this way though. See how that's kind of pushing it out? When we do our oat milk, we'll push straight down, but we're not gonna try and get the oogies out. And I'm gonna be trying a new experiment with the Milthy too, because I'm that kind of gal. Okay, and I'm just trying to get all this out. And what you can see from overhead is you can see how dry this mixture is getting. And honestly, we could have put all this in here too and squeezed some out. But like I said, I think I'm gonna go do something with it a little bit later. So I'm gonna save it off to the side. I want to go ahead and put my sweetener in, so I'm going to use, here we go, this organic agave. You can use any liquid sweetener, or if you're using heat, you can put your sweetener in to begin with. I think that's probably 2 to 3 tablespoons. This is supposed to be a sweet drink, but you could use date syrup. And the date syrup I recommend is, I like Devash a lot. And I think I got it in Costco pretty inexpensively. So I'm just gonna whisk that in there. Do you guys like my rainbow spatula? It's new. And my hands are sticky now, so I need to wash them. We're gonna have to rename this to like the obsessive show with all of my wiping down things. Jessica says she wasn't in the class and she wants a food saver for the jar sealing. And Janet's asking me, did I find a strainer that works better than the nut milk bags? I have a weird thing about nut milk bags. You do not have to have that weird thing. I just certainly have some weird quirks. And what I hate is where the seams are in that little part at the top, nuts and things get caught in there that you can't get out, and it just freaks me out. Can you sterilize it in the dishwasher? Absolutely. So I'm not trying to say you shouldn't, but this is like a double layered fine mesh strainer, and I don't have to squish all the milk. There's also, I don't know, there's just a lot of things. COVID has certainly made me more aware of hygiene than ever before, so I just like this better. It's just cleaner. I'm not necessarily grabbing something else than having to squeeze the nut milk bag again. So I think the one I have here is like a Jamie Oliver, but if you go to Amazon, just look for fine mesh strainers. And actually, I'll try and put together, because I had it all there, I can put together something for you guys and you can see all the things that were used in the video. I'll put it up on the YouTube and probably on Facebook too. So hopefully that'll help. And Kelly's saying, can you use the pulp for a recipe? Yes. You want to make sure that the pulp, I think some of the pulp is like some of the rice pulp is a little bit larger than I'd like it. So I want to blend it again. And you guys have sat through so much already that I'm not going to make you do that. But usually I like it when it's super fine. And then yes, you can put it in oatmeal, you can put it in cookies. I've made dog cookies with it. What else have I done? You could dehydrate it and use it as a cinnamon, because it'll be a little bit of cinnamon still that you can smell. So you could use it in cookies, something that cinnamon's okay. And Anita's, yes, this is horchata. So what we had before, if you're just coming in, lucky you, because the beginning was just like nonsense. And those of you who stuck with me, thank you very much. But we used some brown rice, some almonds, and some cinnamon sticks that we soaked in water overnight. We blended it together. We removed the hard cinnamon sticks, set them aside, as referenced here. You can use these as decoration. Since we didn't boil these, we might be able to do another batch right away. But if you're leaving them out sitting wet, you could probably dehydrate them, but they will lose a lot of that cinnamon flavor. But they do look cute, like if we make a little, drink decor, otherwise known as a garnish. And yeah, this is my new spatulas. This is an Eli Holmes spatula, and I'll put that up there too. They're really pretty nice because you guys don't see the spatula carousel over there. I probably have 20, maybe more, 20, 30 spatulas, because in a class I can go through them really, really fast. And Janet says, I'm making her laugh, and I hope so. I would rather make you laugh than make you sad. And Gina says, ugh, I'm nodding at you about the nut milk bag. I use it inside out, but it drives me crazy. And the thing is there's nothing wrong with it except it creeps me out. So I want to be real honest. And there's one of my students makes nut milk bags, and a lot of people love them. I just think us putting our hands all over that even more is just creeps me out. So there you go. The more you know, right? So now when we're looking at this, and let's go back to where you can see this. I'm going to taste it. Yeah, you totally can make this in a blender too. That's not a problem. We're showing the blender capabilities of this. So I'm going to taste this. Definitely sweet enough. And in fact, there's more cinnamon flavor than I expected. It always surprises me. And I'm going to just pour it. Actually, I think I can let you see it from this side. This is more exciting. Here, let's let our little cinnamon stick, and let's see if this pours straight. There we go. And you don't have to serve it with ice, like I said. This has been sitting out all night, so it's not particularly cold. And you can sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top of it. I have some Penzi cinnamon that I'm using. And see, why me touching the spices doesn't bother me, but a nut milk bag does, I don't know. That is why I said you shouldn't listen to me. Right? Okay, so this is it. Over here. Let's let Cheryl taste it.
That's why we came up.
Oh, well, I was hollering for you before the Amazon app wasn't working.
Oh, that's why you're not on Amazon?
Mm-hmm. Because it can't. Is that yours now? Look over there. You can have it. There's a whole bunch more. Okay. Cheryl likes it. The Cheryl test has been done. Okay. No, not this time. I'm going to next time. I'm going to do it after the oat milk. I'm getting some of the water out of here. So we can do a couple things. We're going to do some of the oat milk the way it says because we're going to toast the oats to make it kind of nice. So I'm just taking some of this water out. And Anita is saying, oh, that you've used paint strainers instead of nut milk bags. I haven't done that either, but that sounds like a good thing to do. Okay, I still have some more. I have rice everywhere. Hi, Bougie.
Who's shooting out the back at them?
Oh, I know. Well, you saw what happened, right? I'm talking to Cheryl now because it has a thing like the Instant Pot. Did you see me talk about that?
Yeah.
I didn't check it. I just thought I could just go hog wild crazy because it was all sealed.
The back is covered.
Oh, I know. Ooh, doo, doo. This is user error. So those of you who are coming in, we just made some horchata. So we soaked some almonds and rice. And in my book, Outrageous Oatmeals, and on healthyslowcooking.com, I give you a recipe for making this with oats and rice and almonds. And on Plant-Based Instant Pot, I give you an Instant Pot recipe. All right, so let's get this back over here. Oh, okay, so Kelly's saying Chef AJ tells people to go to the hardware store for paint bags because they're so much cheaper. That totally makes sense. I love my fine mesh strainer and I use it for so much. So like if you don't have a juicer and you want to make juice or ginger shots like I did last week in the Multo or in your Vitamix or however you want to do it, I strain that too. So you can make juices that way too. Outrageous is a really old cookbook. And in fact, it's not really in print anymore, but you can buy the Kindle version on Amazon, or you can get a signed version sent straight from my house if you go to virtualvegfest.com, Virtual Veg Fest, and just tell me if you want it signed to you or somebody else, and I would love to do that. It's the plant-based community's favorite cookbook. And it was my first cookbook to go out of print. So I don't know what that means. Okay, so let's come over here for a second. We're going to go back out of manual mode. We're going to go to guided. And this goes with the Multo. Jessica's saying you can get it on online bookstores or Amazon used books. But if you want to do what's absolutely best for me and you want a newish book, order it at Virtual Veg Fest. That's super helpful to me. The Kindle version I also get, a little bit of royalties from. But do what's best for you. I want you to have the book first of all. If you want it signed, I would love to do that for you though. Can I get Outrageous Oatmeal at the Veg Fest site? Yes, virtual virtualvegfest.com. I can't believe I did that. Like in spelling bees in school, like I was like one of the first 3 out every time. I can't spell at all. That's what editors in Google are for. Okay, so we're going to look for oat milk. Do that. Click here and it'll bring up a keyboard. Please keep the keyboard up. Okay, let's see if it's me. Let's see if I move it sideways. Maybe I'm doing something. Or is it a Friday curse? Oat milk. Yay, oat milk. It's saying this many oats. We'll look at the steps. They're going to toast the oats and blend the oat milk. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to toast the oats, we're going to take them out, and then we're going to blend the water and some chia seeds. I'm changing this just a little bit. Okay. I didn't mean to go that far out. Don't go to the oat milk. All right, let's start. Take out my ingredients. They give you time to do all this. Add oats. Okay, and watch for the scale. And what did it say I should have scale-wise? 4.5 ounces. I haven't really done the scale yet. So let me take these. Oop. I was supposed to zero it out first, which should have been expected. Okay, we'll zero it out now. Like I said, I haven't used the scale before. Okay. Okay, zeroed out now. We want 4.5 ounces. Oop. Honestly, we can have some extra in there and make an extra thick oat milk. I think that's going to work fine. I am not too terribly concerned about that. All right. And then we're going to toast the oats. Oh, I have to put it on to do that too. I thought maybe I did not. Alrighty. Now we're going to do that. So you can see how many minutes it's going to cook, at what the temperature it is right now. I don't know why I guess it just starts there. And it's heating up. Oh, there we go. It's heating up there. So we get a lot of information. We can pause. Why would I pause? If I started smelling it, typically I can smell if things are about ready or not. Superpower, curse, not sure. Okay, so we're just going to toast these up a little bit. The machine is stirring it for me, so I think it's on a 1. So the speed is a 1. So I think it can be on stop, but usually it's either stirring, going in the direction of the non-cutting, or chopping, going in the direction of the cutting. And Lydia's saying, you're going to make me want this machine. I know. And you know what? I found out the coolest thing last Friday is that if I put ice in here and I chop it for about, like ice cubes from the freezer, and I chop it for about 20 seconds, it's snow, like snow cone snow. And that made me kind of feel some kind of way, affectionate. Oh, Anita, you're so sweet. Anita says I have the best smeller. And with all this pollen, like I'm in Durham, North Carolina, for those of you who don't know. And so it's spring, my favorite season. So usually we have so many pine trees and just it gets yellow and green everywhere. It's just like an extravaganza. So we had that. Now I opened up the house again, and every day there's a layer of pollen. If we have one window open upstairs, it's just a layer of pollen. Like I had one of those black spatulas out. It was nutty. It was just covered. How are we doing on time? Here, let's all look together. So it's also giving us this little message. It's 205 degrees. Be careful as bowl is hot. Don't touch bowl with bare hands. Which is awesome to know. Right? Now, it's wanting to cook this 5 minutes. I think that's longer than we really need it to. But anyhow, it's Friday. You got some more questions for me? We can go over real quick for those of you who are joining. I see new people are here. We are going live all over the web. Woo! And we're making horchata with brown rice, almonds. We've made that, and actually I could pour myself another glass. So the new people can see what the horchata is and why they would want to make it. Besides, it's delicious. It's basically a cinnamon rice almond milk. And I'm putting a little ice in here just because you soak it overnight. So room temperature isn't the most like yummy beverage for me personally. I am for serious. All the ice you can put into a drink. Oh, and so let's see. It's got this beautiful cinnamon. Ooh, look, I managed to not spill anything. Ta-da! And you know what this is good in? This is good in iced coffee, to make a horchata iced coffee. I've been seeing those around. One thing to know is if you go to a Mexican restaurant and order horchata, you might want to ask if there's any dairy milk in it, because sometimes they will add a little bit of dairy milk. Making it at home is so easy and super cheap. I used agave nectar to put in there. You could have used date syrup. We could have pureed dates in there if you don't have date syrup. Ooh, Gina, that's a good idea. Could you make a rice pudding type thing? You could. You could certainly make something like that. With the oat one, because I made a bunch of those when I did the oat book, I just dumped it on top of oatmeal and it was like almond cinnamon goodness mixed in there. So that would work really well. Also, when I was doing the outrageous oatmeals, I had so much oat pulp for making oat milk for the various things as well that I was putting it in a freezer, and then I'd roll it into dog cookies. I'd add some extra flours and things like that. They were so happy. And what else would you make in this? It actually has this double steamer thing. So you could steam vegetables and cook a soup or a curry. So you could actually you could marinate tofu or tempeh in kind of a tandoori style. So like yogurt, garam masala, some cumin, different things like that, and marinate the pressed tofu in there. We could put it in the top to steam it some while we cooked maybe like a dal with vegetables or something like that. And theoretically, I haven't done this yet, you might be able to steam some rice up there too, I'm wondering. And I can check that out for next time because I'm going to be doing another Multo demo next Friday as well. So that's some of the things. You can also, you can make pasta in here, pasta sauces. I've been doing mostly blender stuff because I'm trying to learn along with you. But it does cook. It's not an Instant Pot, a pressure cooker, but it does cook things in here, and so it can just stir and kind of keep going. How are we doing on our cooking time? Anybody else have questions? It's 1:23. I think we're probably good. So I'm going to press stop because I'm that girl. Okay. And this is stainless steel, so it is going to be hot. The oats, so I'm smelling the oats. The oats are definitely toasty. And I'm going to pour them in this bowl for a hot minute. I don't care if some of them stick. I just don't care. And for this, I'm going to take another spatula. This is another shape of the Eli Home one that I like. And I'm just going to scrape that down. And again, I don't want to put my hands on here because it's metal and it's hot. But the toasting is a nice thing. I don't always do that for mine. But here's the thing I want to talk to you about with oat milk. There's a couple things we can do. So using cold water can be helpful to make it not slimy. So we could even add in a little bit of ice or something if we wanted to. Another thing is, like, people always want oat milk to taste like Oatly, right? But we don't want to have any oil in it, and we don't want to have any additives. So oat milk, Oatly doesn't have a lot of additives. It does have oil in it, most of them. I think there is one that maybe doesn't. So that's one of the things that makes it thick and creamy. With some of the other oat milks, you might find something that's a thickener. Oh, Janet, that's a great question. This, I believe, let me double check on Amazon right this second. So in case I think I might have a coupon code too. But it is $999. It is not an inexpensive appliance. But what it is really good is for doing a lot of different things. Like one of the things I want to do in here is you can use it as a food processor, a blender, like a slow cooker, or just a cooker. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You get like several recipes every week that come up new. And I'm working with them about getting more vegan recipes and whole food plant-based recipes in there as well. So, but you can go look on Amazon, and again, I'll put the link in down below later on. But oat milk. So what I like to use as a thickener is I like to use chia seeds. So I usually put about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. So you just kind of have to see how you feel. At some point it will gum up a little extra. Oh, and Janet is saying, I've tried the Joy oat milk powder, and I do. Yeah, okay. And I've tried the almond and the cashew as well, and actually I can show you that. And one thing I want to do with this too, because it can grind grains, so it can be a mill, I want to see if I can get things quite as fine as this. So this is very fine. Like that's a very, very fine powder. And I'll show you what she's talking about. And I like it. It just has one ingredient, organic oats. There's no salt, no sugar, no nothing in there. And that's awesome. It is not cheap. It is not inexpensive. So I find doing it this way is cheaper. So I'm going to put about half a teaspoon of chia seeds. Usually I grind these up. We're trying something else in here. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as kind of a high-speed blender. So it suggested about 12 ounces of water. I used a little extra, so I'll put just maybe a splash more. And I'm going to blend this together first so that it can have some body after I put the oats in there. Yeah, here's the thing. All the ways, and it's kind of like wherever you are in life at this moment, because it can change from one year to the next or 1 month from the next. Usually either we have more time or more money. Rarely do we have all the time and all the money. So I usually find when I have less money, I find more time to make these things myself. I am going to do some experimentation. I do know that both Oatly and the Joy oats are treated with an enzyme, and that is one of the reasons they don't get slimy. And I'm going to get some and experiment with it and see how it works. But that may be another step other people aren't so interested in doing themselves. And Kelly loves the Joy oat milk powder, and I like it because you can froth it either in the Vitamix Air, AER pitcher, which induces air. It makes a really great foam, or the little frothers, the handheld ones. Both of them work well. Okay, so we're going to go here, and I am going to go rogue again. So maybe I should check and make sure my, all right, yes. My silicone ring is on properly. So let's go here, we'll go to manual. We want to chop this probably for about a minute. Let's start at an 8. And let's see how that goes. And one thing that is good about this is a really heavy duty appliance, but it's stuck down here. It's really good. And I'll have some horchata while I wait. So good. We're going to take a look at it after a minute, and then we'll see if we need to do anything more with it. All right, so it's stopping, slowing down, and I'll say, it's okay that I open it, which is kind of cool. I find that this is really nice for people who are learning how to cook, for sure. Okay, so I feel like this has definitely gotten chopped up some. That is a really good question. Facebook user, and that's just because I can't see your name. So if you're on Facebook and I don't see your name, if you could actually put your name, I will just say hello to you. Are the oats that are coated with enzymes considered gluten-free? I believe they are, because it's like amylase is the enzyme. So it actually is something that it's a powder that you mix with them. So I was doing some reading about that. Because everyone who comes to me says, how can I recreate Oatly? Well, that's one of the things you have to do, and that's one of the things that Joy does as well. I would assume, here's a good question. Yeah, these are gluten-free, so I would assume so. Because when I was reading, they are also treated with that. So I'll double check on that in case I'm wrong. It says it's just one ingredient, but organic oats. It says gluten-free, plant-based. So it shouldn't add any gluten. I don't know where that enzyme comes from exactly, though. So I don't want to tell you incorrectly. So I will say I don't know, but that's what I would suspect, is that they're fine. Doesn't Oatly say gluten-free too? I am gluten intolerant, but I'm not celiac. So even if it did, it probably wouldn't affect me. All right, so we've got these. They're a little broken down. My experiment is to just let it break down, because some of this is going to go through. And I think I might like to try and break these up a little bit more. I could have milled them in a spice grinder first, or probably milled them dry in here. But I just wanted to test this way out and see how it works. Of course. No, it's always interesting what ends up happening. So we're going to do this just a little longer. Also, while we're doing this, let's see, it doesn't go all the way back. No. Let's just do like, I don't know why 40 seconds seems, oh, it's 1:40. We're not going to let go this whole time. Oh, there we go. Let's go back here. There we go. Let's do about 40 seconds more. 45. Oh, pause. It went to chop 3. That's not going to do anything to those. So let's go to 9. There we go. That'll do it. You can see it moving around a little bit. Can we? Yeah, I don't want to do that to the camera. get a cup to try the oat milk with when we have it done too. Okay. And I just wanted to do it a little bit more. Also, the different time that we're doing is allowing some of that to thicken up as well, right? And that's what I want to do. I just want to use it as a thickener. Now, if you use too much, I find it gives it kind of a, I don't know why it's this to me, but it seems almost like a fishy smell or something like that, which I don't think Cheryl's up here. If I say fish, like it, of course it doesn't have any fish in it. So it's going to help thicken it up a little bit. Also, it's going to help it not separate as badly. Oat milk is going to separate. Oat milk does not last, homemade oat milk does not last as long as like homemade cashew milk. It's more of a 3 or 4 day thing. So just make what you need and then just powder on. Okay, so let's get some of these back in here. I'm always scraping things. That's why I am the queen of spatulas. All right, so now we're going to put our oats in there. And so we didn't heat this up. It's cool. We can put some date syrup. We could have put some soaked dates. Let's see, this one's open. So I'm going to put a little bit of date syrup in there. That's probably enough. I could also put some vanilla. Or, look at this. I made this in class last night. Know what that is? Anybody want to guess? Strawberry powder. So I was wondering if this could be a little bit like, you know, what was that? Strawberry Quick that I grew up on. So I'm going to put some in here. And what's in there? Strawberries that I dehydrated. I'm going to put, we'll try it with 1 teaspoon, and then I'll see if I need another teaspoon. And I'm going to put just a dash of vanilla if I can find out where I just set that down. I showed it to you. Hello? Nope, you're not there. Literally, oh, there it is. It's behind my drink. But just a couple drops. And I like to use a nice pure vanilla extract like this Rodale. But you use whatever vanilla extract you want to use. We can mix this up, but why not just mix it all up together? There's our toasted oats. And I'm curious to see how long they say to do this. So let's go back to that oat milk recipe. Guided, search, oat milk. I don't know why it keeps taking to me. There we go. All right, let's start. So we're skipping through most things because we did most of the things. We already toasted the oats. And so then we're going to blend it. So I just want to see, it looks like it's going to blend at 2 minutes at 8. So let's try that. Typically, 2 minutes seems like a lot. So I may cut it a little bit short. Because if you overblend them, that also encourages the sliminess. Okay, so I'm going to pause and let's take a look. Oh, that's a very good question. And yes, you should be able to make soy milk in it, Lydia, because you could cook the soybeans, or if you're cooking them, you can also just not cook soybeans and make soy milk as well. But I'll check for a recipe. To me, this is plenty good enough. And in fact, I may need a little more water. Remember, I put in a little extra oats because I am that way. I'm going to get that strawberry pepper. It smells really good. I'm going to put more water in. Also, I put a thickener in that they did not talk about putting in. So that is also going to change things. And in fact, if you wanted to, probably about now, if you made this thick, this would be great overnight oats. Okay, I'm gonna get the stuff off the lid as much as I can, which will be just a little bit. I'm gonna put some more water in, and then we'll do it a little bit longer. I always have extra water. And if it gets a little bit too thin, we could always add more oats or add more chia. We could go back and forth as we wish. We'll resume. I'm going to pause it again. And that looks a little better to me. And again, let's say we made it too thick. The worst thing that happens is that we add a little more water later on. So I'm going to kind of scrape some of this down. Then we're going to put it through a fine mesh strainer. I do recommend always with oat milk using a fine mesh strainer over a nut milk bag. I feel like that works more slime in. So again, a couple of things to help with slime. One is using cold water. Two is not blending it a really long time. I think I'm gonna move this up. And we may not be able to put all this through, but we might. Not quite. So just like we did with the horchata, only perhaps more so. And let me show you so you can see some of this coming through right now. And one thing I didn't do is taste it yet, but which I should have done. I need some more strawberry and more sweet and more vanilla. But I can fix all that after. But you can taste just ever so slightly. That was scary. Did that scare you guys or just me? Okay. So what we do is we come and we scrape the bottom and turn over the spatula. And that's how you can make this strain a lot faster. We're not really pushing on it because pushing on it can really push some of the slime through. Okay. All right. Ooh, too full. Try to not get it that full, you guys. Don't be overzealous like me. Learn from my mistakes, right? And once we're done with this, I will check, Lydia, and see if there's a soy milk recipe already in there. But it should work really well, in fact, because like what a soy milk maker does is it cooks and heats up the soybeans, or you can do a cold cycle, and this could do either way, and then blend it and mill it down. And again, this we could cook up for oatmeal. We could add it into our overnight oats. You don't have to get rid of all of this. And see, if I push it too much, some of the thicker part will come through. And you can decide if that's what you want or not. If we're looking at chia, that sounds good. If we're looking at oat milk slime, that is not as good, and you will be able to tell. All right, so I'm going to add another teaspoon of strawberry powder to this because I think it needs more strawberry. Maybe even like 1.5. I'm going to put another couple of drizzles of vanilla in here. And I'm going to put some more date syrup. Ooh, that was exciting. And then I'm just going to whisk it in. I could have also tasted earlier, even though it was pulpy, I would still be able to taste the flavors and see where those are. The Milty probably, not the Milty, the Multo probably also integrated the strawberry powder a little bit more, and I can always put it back in, but I want to get this flavor right before I do anything else. That's it. That's it. Oh my gosh, it really tastes like strawberry quick. So the only thing I would do differently is probably go ahead, put it back in the blender when we get off of the live, just because you can see on the top. Can you see how we've got some strawberry freckles? That'll get rid of those strawberry freckles to have it mix up in there really strongly. And that would be all I would do differently. So what you should take out of this, oat milk. You want it to be thicker, add some chia seeds. Don't add too much chia seeds or it's going to change the taste a little bit. Use a fine mesh strainer. That helps with the slime to not, and don't push on it. The more you push, and actually I think if I push now, see how you can see some of the slime? Yeah. So some of the slime comes out that way. I feel like it comes out a lot in a nut milk bag, and that's why I don't think you should use it. Cold water, don't blend for a really long time. Use rolled oats. These, I buy like 8 pounds, 7 or 8 pounds at a time. This is Bakery on Main. They're gluten-free, and they're not very expensive. And I just buy a big bag on Amazon, and it lasts forever. Even for me, it lasts quite a long time. And I use oat flour a lot, and I use oats in a lot of different cooking things and dry mixes and things like that. This would work fine for plain. In fact, if I'm going to use oat milk because I'm like, oh, I don't have any milk and I need to make vegan mac and cheese, throw a half a cup of oats, maybe 2 cups of water in your Multo, in your blender, whatever, blend it up, strain it, use it right away. You don't even have to worry about it getting slimy because if it's cooking, you're not going to feel that in your mouth. It's just going to cook and become thicker. You could make this vanilla. We could have used cocoa powder instead of strawberry powder. And for strawberries, I just cut off the tops, slice them. I put them in the Breville on the dehydrator. You could use any kind of dehydrator you want. And I don't even think it took 8 hours. Then I grinded it up in a spice grinder. And that was that. So that's pretty much it for the night. We made horchata. We made oat milk. And there you go. Do you guys have any other, soy milk question. Can we make soy milk in it? Let's look and see if there's a recipe for soy milk already. Yes, the lid is open. We know that. Thank you for your concern. Okay. Search. Soy. Where's the space? Soy. Soy. Where's the space? Is this the space? Space. Milk. They don't have a recipe for it yet. They do have it for almond milk, but they don't have it yet. But I don't see why you wouldn't. So I have a soy milk maker. I have the Soy Bella. and you put your, I soak the beans. You put the beans in there. Or do you soak the beans? I haven't made it in a while. But you put it in there, it cooks it. It comes up to a temperature, it cooks it, purees it some, cooks it some more, purees it more. And then it's done. So it's a hot soy milk that you cool and can use for anything. I cannot imagine that you would not be able to do that. So you would just be using heat. It would be a matter of figuring out when you would want to start chopping rather than stirring and how long to cook the beans. So hopefully that would work. Oh, you're so welcome, Gina. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on your Friday night. I would suggest that all of you go soak some rice and almonds with cinnamon sticks and water so that you can wake up tomorrow and make some horchata. You can put it in your coffee, or it could just be a nice morning drink. Again, if you don't have any date syrup or some syrup you want to cook it with, if you go look at the Horchata at Healthy Slow Cooking, so go to healthyslowcooking.com, look up Horchata. It might say Oat Horchata now, so try that. Or go to Plant-Based Instant Pot, and you can do one that you can cook up quickly just by using your Instant Pot with no soaking. Okay? Oh, awesome. And let's see. Janet was saying, I love all the new appliances that come out, but I have a difficult time storing all of them. Well, on the other side of this is my dining room table that right now is full of stuff that I took off from back there. And then all around it, because I have 3 air fryers, I have 3 ice cream makers, because since I do recipe development, I have to do a lot of these things. And you guys, another new appliance that I'm going to be slinging your way is going to be the Ninja Creamy soon. So stay tuned for that. But next Friday we'll do more with the Multo. And let's see, Patty says, and hey Patty, I'm so glad to have you here. And this is the Cooking Pal Multo. So it kind of replaces a lot of different things. It replaces a high-speed blender, a food processor. It also cooks in it. In different parts of the world, in the US, not so much. This sort of appliance has been popular for like a decade, which is very interesting since we haven't, kind of like the air fryer. The air fryer was very popular in Asia, different places in Asia, long before it came over here. And so again, I'm going to go and put some notes in so you guys can find all these things. Because what I was going to do is tell you to go to Amazon, which didn't work for me today. All right. So, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Janet, for showing up. Thanks to all of you guys so much for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I know I'm not super date night material, but you know what? You'll be really glad to have that horchata in the morning. Try it with your coffee, or even some tea would work well. And Lydia says she can't wait for the Ninja Creamy demo, and neither can I. And neither can the bananas that I'm going to get ready to use for it. So it's probably going to either be filmed or happen live this weekend. All right, guys, I want you to have an amazing, amazing start to your weekend. Take some time for yourself, enjoy, eat healthy. And if you guys have any questions about anything that we've done today, just leave them wherever you're watching them, and I will try and find you and answer them. Okay, so do something kind and nice for yourself. All right, do it for me, please. And I'll talk to you guys